generate bodhicitta. With that, we are studying. And before we stop for the lunch, we are studying like training with the 6 parameters. And this first parameter is the generosities. And in order to be enlightenment, of course, we need to give away even our own body, and also in the historical, sometimes Buddha's past lifetimes he spent it sometimes like life. I mean, it's like historicals. How is Buddha? He spent his life. For example, in Nepal, there's one stupa. You know this. The one boy, he gave his body to the mother of the tiger, hungry tiger. Like he generosity his body to this female tiger, hungry. And also there are some others. One turtle. Once there are big ships, it's like sink into the ocean. There are many businesses are died. But some of them they found one big turtle. They like climate or like rided or boarded into this turtle, and these turtles transport them most to the other shore, and then it's like they arrive in the other shore, and then this turtle was very big, but turtle was so tired and slept, and because of these turtles transport this many people. And then it's like when the turtles wake up, and of course there are many insects, maybe mosquito or someone eating his body, his body, and if this turtle thinks is going back to the ocean, maybe a lot of insects going to die. Therefore, it's better to give my body to those insects. Like this kind of course, that is some different enlightened lifetimes like this. And then it's like even if we need to give our life and bodies, and in this perspective, there's no need to mention outer our object of the belonging and virtues. And of course, and when we are generosities, and of course without any reward, that is the most important, because we are talking about great friend of the non-conceptualizations. And also generosities, and which kind of result. For example, generosities to purify poverties, and many life and lifetimes to naturally to become that kind of richness, and also many there are different benefits. And also in the word of my perfect teachers, and also there are a lot of the explanations about these generosities, including the 6 parameters. And therefore, we should to do as much as we can to say. And also in the word My Perfect Teacher it says, of course, sometimes when we have renunciations and to understand the impermanent things, we want to almost to give up everything. Maybe that is the too much. And then it's like the middle, we have own idea, oh, I can't do that, but some in the path, my belonging and the bodies and the virtues, I can do it. Maybe that is that we don't do. Finally, we have one idea. Maybe it's like, oh, I can't do it. Better to don't do it. Maybe this last idea is not very good. First idea is not good. But the middle ideas, it's like a saying, it's like, for example, like we can take about the percentage. And if like kind of the 100, in the 100 numbers, maybe 90, 98 or 95% we need, of course, and same way, belongings like this, and also bodies. And how we make generosity by our bodies. Of course, if we can to contribute some to help to other sentient beings, that is like kind of great generosities. Like for example, when we have in the generosities, like the great generosities, middle generosities, small generosities, there are many categorizations of the generosities. But it's like Buddhist generosity, step by steps. Even the Shantideva said, if you look at the sentient beings very kindly by your eyes, it's also generosity. And if someone's like asked to you some question or something to talk to you, you become very kindly to say like this. That is also generosity. Of course, if like you can do like someone's carry, maybe someone's journey long time. This is not this date in ancient times. And like then it's like you can while to help to the carrying this bag. And also someone's falling down, you can do help. And this kind of, any kind of, for example, many is like different spirituals. And we talk about nurse and like help. For example, Shantideva, he says like, may I be reborn slave. Those some sentient beings need some workers. And like this, kind of any kind of through the bodies, we can to contribute, make the generosity. Not necessary to cut our body to give to the others. This is not necessary. Or sometimes maybe think it's like we have different systems, you know. It's just like someone's like cutting the finger, cutting like this. It's like kind of my improve, like something is like, okay, I give you. This is not very good. It is like until there will be enlightenment, we cannot live alive. And also it's like to, you know, in the, for example, Patrul, he was in the retreat of the in Dzogchen Valley. And summertime, he was there's one stone, and he lying down there, almost, of course, naked, and then he give blood to the big mosquitoes. And sometimes this sort of course, the generosity by the bodies is important, but maybe we can to make more protect to our sickness and different things. Maybe better don't do it until we become enlightened men. But bodily to make the generosities, become kind, that is the most important. This is really great generosity. For me, it's great generosity is the kindness. And it's like to be honest, to be really to kindness. For example, like I have this kind of feelings when I go to abroad, through the passport controls, through the sometimes go to office. And like sometimes like when you go to there, someone's like very kindly and to help to us, almost immediately want to hug and kiss, this kind of. And someone is like through the passport control or some office is very tough, very hard, and it's like in the front of that is almost want to bat in the face, you know. But it's okay, you can practice, it's just a while dead, but this sort of really is helping to this is great generosity. Sometimes we think all the of generosity, or I need to give. But give things also this kind of is very mighty. And also material things is necessary to we need to a little bit generosity. For example, I want to direct to tell to use it. For example, this times I didn't do sometimes this kind of gatherings to practice things. Maybe we haven't got much there. Normally we have tea like areas, and you can to buy the 1 or 2 biscuits to put there. Maybe few packet of the teas and 1 butter of the milk to put there. And everybody is coming to take in your things. For example, 1 liter of the milk, maybe 20, 30 people they drink it, you connect to them. And that is, maybe there are, maybe like still there's some psychic mind, you generous. If your mind is enlightenment, you connect to them, you have a possibility to help to them. If they are interested, they are enlightened or their mind maturated, we can to receive we kind of offerings. And therefore sometimes we need them, our Westerns is like, we haven't got these systems and everybody's, for example, if you go to some in the another Buddhist countries, it's not much in Tibetan. For example, you go to Vietnam and you go to some different countries, their gathering is common, they automatically they do like this. And all the time it's like outside sometimes a lot of poor, and then they give 1 cent. When it's like you go to the India, so someone's doing, for example, 100 euro, you can divide 100 cents, that's you give. And if this poor person says 1 cent, what can I do? You decide. I'm generous, you are begging money. And that sometimes is like funny things in our Europe beggars. And once I was in the shopping center, there's one lady, and she saw me, are you Buddhist monks? Yes. And they give me money. That time is Belgian francs, and I give to her like 200 Belgian francs. What can I need to do this one? Give me more, you are Buddhist. But I mean, it's like this kind of situation, is you don't necessarily, because it's like in the teaching says, like the first time you look at your own wallet, how much you can do it. Percentagely 95 or 99 you should need to give. A little bit, 1%, 5 or 2 or 3%, it's a very, very, very important. We can to say all the times to keep like this. Once it's like certainly we died, our belonging things never ever done any positive things. I mean, we can do it, but these positive things, collect things, is nothing virtuous brings. Okay, maybe in life, it's a gift to us, this kind of food, clothes, shelter, very much selfish. But like this is like otherwise it's like I mean, it's sometimes, of course, Tibetans, people, we talk about different ways, but in Tibet it's no more stinginess. But some other Buddhist countries, sometimes it's very much, too much to open them. That may be too much, but a little bit, and it's like sometimes like I did last year days or something. Not necessarily one time to buy huge theirs. Like as I may say, when we make the tsok, maybe you can to buy 1 candle, and maybe you can to buy 1 biscuit. And this biscuit is a sanghas to sharing, and then you already connected. And there is one monk's history, and he practiced a lot of Zambala. You know, often I'm telling you, long time, he never become rich, and then he fed up. And one day, and then one monk came, today you should to bag Zambala, maybe you can to get it. He went in the city, he got like a big sack of the Zambala, come back, and certainly his rope was broken, and Zambas were rolling in the mountain. And he was angry with Zambala, but he chasing after the Zamba rope. But Zamba rope is ruling, and his Zamba is everywhere. And finally, his rope, the sack is completely empty. Come back, almost cry and complain. And certainly this monk is come back. And did you get Zamba? Yes, God, but it's like everything is falling down and you must stay. And then this monk says, that is the maybe Zambala's helping to use it. And he said, this is not helping. That is, I don't need to practice, you know. He said, I lost Zambala. And then this monk says, I am Zambala. Since you practice, I'm all the times with you. You haven't got any karma, what I need to give to you. And it's like this, I cannot give you nothing, and I cannot help. Today I helped you, and your Zamba is eating all the many insects. Now I think you will become rich. That is it. And then as a start, his like kind of life has become more and more. You don't know, it's like, it's sometimes our life is like we put lot of effort, we become more and more poor. Sometimes we don't need to put effort, but something is naturally, automatically quite going very well. And therefore it is like very important to do through the positions, to do a little bit. It's very important for not like a kind of sometimes when we make the generosities, maybe benefit to you, so I'm giving to you. This is not really others. For example, some Buddha and Bodhisattvas, they see the object of the like kind of the field, like a offering or the like generosity, the object. They say, now I have got object. This object of the inferiors or the superiors is giving to my path of the generosity. Otherwise, it's like some, for example, other words, they cannot to do this kind of things. Just to result to born there, how long they stay there, and they die. They can't do negative action and the positive actions. For in our words, we have these possibilities. We can do negative things, and forever we can go to in the hell. We can do positive things. We can do be in this life to be the enlightened man. That's both as we have chance, responsibilities, and therefore it's like virtue things. It's like a step by step, small thing kind of like tiniest to tiniest, not huge immediately things. We can't do this because we are not yet enlightened man. And therefore I'm just to etc. So explanation of the generosity. Generally, of course, each of these kind of, we need to talk, for example, big generosity, middle generosity, small generosity, and each one is a three categories. This may be number of categorizations. May be better to study is very important. And like this, for example, there is how do you say? If you physically, if you stop to killing and to save, sometimes to release life, this is kind of great generosity of the for the lives of other sentient beings. And also when you like kind of the great one generosity is dharma generosity. Of course, dharma generosity you need to become enlightenment or great masters. Then is how we can to make the great generosity of the dharma. For example, practice Mondro, recite the mantras, to pray to the same, may all the sentient beings to be free from the sufferings, through the kindness, through the non-conceptualizations, is a Dhamma generosities. For example, if you go outside to say Mani Padme Hum, this sound is like never ever disappeared. This sound is like endlessly going on. Whoever hears that one is like a kind of to hear the Dharma sound. This is the great generosity. For example, some my teacher says, when you be in the top of the mountain, you should recite, particularly for example, Hyongchub Sancho Rinpoche. You generate like a bodhicitta to mind maintain the non-conceptualizations. Then you can to recite the bodhicitta prayer, Hyongchub Sancho Rinpoche. This your sound is carried by the airs, and then whoever hear, they can listen to your voice. They can to have something tendencies of the dharmas. And when you be in the middle of the jungle, when you be near the sea, near the river, near the animals, near the peoples, as much as you can to recite. Of course, in Europe, if you say people think things, but you can to sing like a kind of nicely. Maybe they think you are crazy. You are singing, but not crazy. You just recite them, and one person to hear that, For example, in the word My Perfect Teachers, the explanation of the refugee prayers. There was one retreaters, and he was inside, and suddenly one thief, robber came through the window. First robbers sending his arm, and then retreater he catched this one, and then of course thief is weak, and the retreater was very strong. Maybe he was resting there. And then he's to put the rope under his arm, and Taddy was inside the pillar, and then he went out and to pick up one stick, and then he said, I'm taking refuge in Buddha and in Dharma. He beat it. And of course it's very painful, and then he closed the door and he sent. And this thief was so pained, but couldn't they pain, and he has this memory of what he recited. It's the retreat says, I'm taking refuge in Buddha, I'm taking refuge in Dharma, I'm taking refuge in Sangha. And he recited coming that, and then it's he couldn't go because he beat it quite a lot. And then he slept under that bridge, and normally he slept under the bridge, and then normally this bridge is very something strange. There are a lot of ghosts, demons there. And then beside there is one clairvoyance, when someone seeing the ghost. And then that night, and he saw the ghost is going suddenly they are run away. And then he thought, the ghost, hey, we cannot go this through way. Why? Because someone's taking refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Then it's very difficult to go through them. And then finally the seers went to there, who's there? And then there one person's kind of lying down. And he said, what happened to you? He said, I received a lot of beating in the body. And then what are you thinking? He said, I don't know. The retreaters, when he beat me, and he says, taking refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. And he's whole night, he's thinking about his pain, but he recited, remember this voice. And like this, for example, this kind of such and such benefit. Therefore, it's you can look into Buddhist mantras, prayers, absolutely different than prayers, And it's for example, you can say, I will pray to the Guru Rinpoche, Buddha Shakyamuni. But it's not benefit for you. Please, Guru Rinpoche, I will pray for you, but can you give me something rich, power, something? Beside this, enhanced by the compassion, I will pray to the Guru Rinpoche, I need some strength in order to help to the sentient beings. Then it's completely different. And like this, each you can read the prayers lines inside what is saying things. All the times good things. Good things are great matter. I'm often to say, if you cannot recite those matters, but even you recite the matter of the good, maybe you go to home, toilet, wherever you be, so good. Sometimes, it's kind of the phenomena like nature. If you say good, all the times good things coming. It's like you say, this is just to say good thing. If you say all the times bad, and maybe it's bad circumstances, bad sickness, bad, it's naturally occurring. Kind of invocations is like this. And therefore, it's good is nothing matter. But if you say all the time, say good, 100% sometimes everything's going well, good things. Like this, in the Buddhism, those mantras, each mantras, if you can really to check out, look, there are such great combinations. And of course, the prayers we can to read, we can to understand the meaning. But those mantras, they have such combinations to making the peace of the element, to agreement of the element, pacify all the elements. And this kind of the mantras is helping to our habitual tendencies. Like kind of in the tendencies, there's like negative tendencies, positive tendencies. These mantras make increase positive tendencies, purify the negative tendencies. Therefore, it's like as much as we can to recite the mantras is marvelous. This is the generosity of the Dharma. And we don't need to specifically to say, today is my Dharma day, I need to pray. Tomorrow my worldly day, and I completely forget. That is not very good, you know. It's the daily love and the Dharma, we need to mix it. And it's each moment. Sometimes now we forgotten. Before, for example, we put some mantra in the toilet. When you make the pee and your dirty things, you drink. But sometimes you reading these mantras, even your like shitting or like toilet things is become the virtues. And then it's like each moment we need this kind of virtue, obviously. And without virtues, without positive things, we never ever receive the happiness. Therefore, it's like that. And then I'm going to next verse. And